Hello, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Dr. Janelle, and many people know me by Vagina Rehab Doctor. If you're following me on Instagram or on TikTok, that's what most people know me by. But I'm going to be talking to you today about vaginismus. Vaginismus is a condition that can completely disrupt your mental health. It can make it difficult to even go and get a pelvic exam, and it can even contribute to an inability to have intercourse. So, vaginismus is a pelvic floor muscle disorder that can make the muscles that surround the vagina extremely tight to the point that nothing can get in. Okay, so as a pelvic floor physical therapist, what I do at Vagina Rehab Doctor, my company, is that we work with women and people who don't know how to relax these muscles, but also we work with them on how to release the tension and the pain and the restrictions that are being stored. So I want you to think about vaginismus as a muscle disorder in which the muscles are similar to a closed fist. And if these muscles have been like this for several years, then it's going to be very difficult to get these muscles to open up. And that's where we come in as pelvic floor physical therapists at Vagina Rehab Doctor. So we use various different strategies, tools, hands-on methods, exercises, even ways to retrain your brain and your nervous system on how to relax and let go so that penetration is possible. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about our 3-step process that we use to help our clients completely overcome their vaginismus. And we do this in 8-session programs, okay? So when I talk with people, I don't have anyone to sign up, at least at this time, without me talking to them one-on-one, because I really want to understand what they're struggling with, what has been their blockages, right? So let's say you have vaginismus and you've been unable to use tampons, insert a finger, you're running from your gynecologist, you can't get the pelvic exam, and let's say you're in a relationship. So it's now not just you, it's your partner as well, who wants to share intimacy with you when it comes to penetrative sex, but it cannot happen because every single time you try, it just hits a brick wall, like it can't go further. This is a pelvic floor issue. It's not just in your head, but you're gonna need to figure out how to relax and retrain these muscles so that number one, there's more space, right? There's more of an opening happening. And number two, it's comfortable, right? It's not painful. You're not forcing it. You're not bearing through it. You don't have to drink wine to have sex. You don't have to use lidocaine. It is a natural progression that happens when you become aroused and your muscles relax enough for penetration. So I'm going to tell you how we get our clients better in 8 sessions, okay? As a pelvic floor physical therapist who has worked in person and someone who has worked completely remote, I can tell you what we're doing differently that a lot of other clinics are not doing because I myself worked in person before, okay? So I just want to reinforce that this program or this framework that I'm going to share with you is based on a remote framework. All of our clients, we have over 200 clients working with us right now for vaginismus and sexual pain. All of our clients are completely remote. We use telehealth care. So you don't have to leave home, okay? So I want you to get a piece of paper out. I want you to get your phone out right now so that you can write these things down. If this is serious to you, where you really want to invest the time and the energy and put in the effort to overcome your vaginismus, then you're gonna wanna take notes, okay? So the very first thing that we do with you to help you overcome your vaginismus in 8 sessions, sometimes it's sooner. So sometimes we work with people who come to us and they're already like halfway done with their dilator set. So for that person, it may not take 8 sessions. And we do our programs once a week. So we typically like to work with you 1 time a week. But if you are more than halfway done with your dilator set, it may not even take that long, depending. Everyone is different, but that's common. Very rarely we will have people that book another session, maybe 2 or 3, but we are not working with you for a year or 2 years, 3 years. We have this framework and I want to share it with you now. So number one, we have to get to addressing your nervous system, okay? And what I mean by this is, if every time you try to put something into your vagina, there's a lot of fear, you stop breathing, you're clenching your muscles, you're panicking, there's a lot of anxiety, this is your nervous system. Your nervous system works with your muscles. And so these muscles have a lot of nerve endings that go to the pelvic floor muscles. And depending on what your brain is communicating with these nerves, then these muscles may have a hard time relaxing. We talked about this previously, and that is, if you have a history of anxiety, if you have a history of trauma, this may be domestic abuse, this may be sexual trauma, even medical trauma. If you had a significantly scary and painful medical appointment, your body and your brain could be contributing to why you are unable to keep those muscles open enough for penetration. Okay, so that's the number one thing that we do, is we teach you how to get control over your neuromuscular system. What this means is how to get your brain and your muscles on the same page. Okay, so some of you may be like, I want to have sex, like I want this, I feel safe, I am horny, I'm aroused, but my muscles, my body just won't let it happen. It won't go in, right? So some of that is tightness, and we're gonna get to that in a second. But before that, we wanna make sure that, okay, if you wanna have sex here, you want to be intimate, you wanna have penetrative sex, then we wanna make sure that your muscles are not doing the opposite and closing, tensing, guarding. So that is something that we teach, right? We're gonna use different strategies to show you how to know when you're not relaxing down here, and how to actually keep these muscles open and relaxed with insertion, right? When something is coming in, how do you remain open? How do you remain relaxed so that you can actually receive and not block that insertion from happening, okay? So a lot of that has to do with calming the anxiety, calming the fear, right? Calming those neuromuscular patterns that communicate anxiety and panic so that penetration can happen, okay? That's just number one. That's not the only thing. And if we only did that, it would not be enough for us to help you overcome your vaginismus, okay? And if you are curious about learning more from me, I post a lot on Instagram, so you can head over there with the link in the show notes. And then if you're someone who wants more like one-on-one support, you're someone who wants individualized coaching, we do our one-on-one programs all throughout the year. So you can click the link below if you want to do a free call with me to learn about our coaching program and to get signed up for that, okay? So number one is we have to address the fear and anxiety by retraining your neuromuscular system and your nervous system. That's so key, right? So if you're afraid of your vagina, if you're afraid of things going into your vagina, if you tend to tense up and guard and clench just because you're so afraid of pain, that's what we have to work on and get you to start calming your body, calming your nervous system, and working on the fear and anxiety before anything else, okay? Number two, what we want to do is now release pelvic floor muscle restrictions. If you're struggling with pelvic floor tightness, this is going to be a barrier to insertion, full insertion, not just getting the tip in, but full insertion and pain-free insertion, okay? So your muscles surround the vaginal opening right here. It surrounds the vaginal opening. The other thing is that there are muscles deeper into the pelvic floor that also needs to be relaxed enough and flexible so that when penetration is happening, it's not hurting and there's not a lot of friction, okay? So we have to use different tools. We have to use different strategies and exercises to release the pelvic floor muscle tightness. We cannot skip that. So if you have ever tried using dilators, my question to you is, Did you have the support required to remain accountable with your dilation process? Okay, so this is dilator 1 with the set I have. I have a set of 5. And so this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. Okay, so this is a dilator set of 5. All right, some dilator sets come with like 8, some come with 6. Let me just let you know, the brand of the dilators is not as important as the shape and the size of the largest one. Okay, so let me explain. If you have dilators that are not shaped like typical things that go into your vagina, for example, this has a similar shape as a tampon. It's straight and it's not curved. I've seen those dilator sets that are extremely curved. They're like pink silicone and they're so curved, it does not resemble a finger, it doesn't resemble a tampon, and it definitely doesn't resemble a penis. So get you some dilators that have the shape of natural things that go into the vagina, okay? Because that's gonna prepare you. If you start training with something that has a different shape, and especially if it's tapered, right? So it's all skinny at the opening. It's skinny at the opening, but then as it goes back, it gets all thick. It's gonna be tricking you when you first get it in. Then as you get it further, it's gonna be uncomfortable because it didn't have a consistent shape throughout. Okay. The next thing that's important about your dilators is that the last one is similar to the size of a penis if you are seeking to have penetrative sex with a man or with someone who has a penis. Okay, so that's very important. If your last dilator is only this big, right, or only this big, but you want to have penetrative intercourse, then you're going to train yourself for success. You're going to train yourself to cure this problem if you get a dilator set that has your last one ending in a size that really resembles a penis or resembles a larger or regular sized dildo. So I'm going to show you this here. I'll probably make another video that's just for like dildos and dilators and stuff, but this is a dildo. So if your last one is like this size or this size, then that's decent. Okay, so number 1, we talked about we got to calm the anxiety and we have to address your fears. Let me be very clear on the number 1. If you're afraid to put a finger in your vagina, that's part of vaginismus. That's part of why you're struggling with this. Don't avoid it, right? Do what you can step by step to try and overcome that fear, because if you're holding fear in relationship to this part of your body, that's perpetuating the problem, right? This problem with vaginismus is typically associated with fear or anxiety with insertion and distress with sexual attempts. A lot of distress with trying to have sex, okay? So because I'm a pelvic floor physical therapist, doctor of physical therapy, that is really where we shine. We teach our clients how to address the pelvic floor muscle dysfunction that's happening here, especially the muscle that surrounds the vagina. If that muscle is too tight, let me tell you, vaginismus is like trying to put a pencil through the eye of a needle. And so we only have 2 options, right? In order to fix the problem, if something can't get in because there's not enough space, it can't get in because there's not enough space. We either have to decrease the size of the pencil or we have to increase the flexibility of the pelvic floor. To do that, it generally requires some hands-on tools. We've already talked about the dilators. And let me say this, if you are on size 1, or if you're stuck on size 1, you're stuck on size 2 or 3, or whatever size you're stuck on, this is a sign that you need some outside support on how to manage pain, resolve pain, manage tightness, resolve tightness, or manage fear and anxiety in relationship to vaginal insertion. Okay, so that's sort of the difference between us as pelvic floor physical therapists, is that while we're not going to talk you through, we're not going to do talk therapy, right? We're not psychologists, but we're going to show you how to release tension, how to lower that anxiety and fear when things are going into the vagina, because now we're talking about muscular, we're talking about neuromuscular, and so that is really where we shine. Another thing that we can teach you how to do in terms of releasing a lot of the pain and tightness in the pelvic floor is that we'll teach you how to use different hands-on strategies to release areas of tension, pain, and restriction inside of the pelvic floor. So if your pelvic floor muscles in here are still holding a lot of restrictions, your dilator may not even be able to get in. So what we do is we show you with our models, with our visual models, with our pelvic models, how to release those different areas of restrictions so that you can get your dilators in with less pain, with less fear, with less tightness, so that we can start progressing through the dilation and then on to helping you transition to intimacy, sexual intercourse, penetrative sex, okay? We also teach our clients how to use something called pelvic wands. This is another great tool on how to get tension out of the pelvic floor. And a lot of people, they get the pelvic wand, but they were never taught how to use them. And so that's another thing that can be helpful for you is, using these pelvic wands to help you get tension out of your pelvic floor. So that's number 2. Have you released a lot of the tension, the restriction, and the pain that's being stored in your pelvis? Okay? Are you releasing that? If it's still hurting, if they're still burning, if you're still hitting a brick wall, if you feel like you're forcing your dilators in, or if it's only going halfway in, then these are just some signs that the pelvic floor has not relaxed yet, and that is okay. That is okay. We can teach you, and you can learn a lot just from following me, again, on Instagram, where I share a lot of different tips and tools. But if you want to sort of accelerate the process to overcoming vaginismus, getting one-on-one help is so key from someone who understands vaginismus, okay? So if you're someone like me, you like to plan ahead and you're like, hey, 3 months from now, I don't want to be dealing with this. I want to be having sex. I want to be dating without fear. I want to start trying for a baby. Then now is the time to actually take that first step, okay? So I do free calls. I talk with you for free to see if you would be a good fit to work with us one-on-one, and we can show you week to week. Again, our program is completely remote on working with you on how to overcome this, right? For good, okay? And you can read my reviews, our testimonials on Google, okay? You can read the reviews there. You can go to Google Vagina Rehab Doctor, and like a Google location, like act like you're trying to go to Walmart, or act like you're trying to go to Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. And you know how you Google how to get there? Just Google Vagina Rehab Doctor, everything spelled out, and you can read our testimonials from different women and people that we've worked with that no longer struggle with vaginismus, okay? Remember, 8-week group programs, okay? So, sorry, not group programs, 8-week programs. Sorry about that. It's one-on-one. Okay, so number 1 is we have to address your nervous system. Any fear that you're having, any anxiety, are your muscles clenching, guarding, tightening every time you try and put something into the vagina, whether it's a finger, tampon, you're guarding and clenching, you can't relax. Maybe it's a pelvic exam, or maybe it's a penis, right? You're trying to have sex with a man, penis owner, someone with a whole dang-a-lang down there. Or it could be a sex toy, okay? It could be a dildo, and it's just not getting in. We have to work on your neuromuscular patterns, your breathing patterns, your nervous system patterns, helping your brain and your body to be more calm with insertion. That's neuromuscular. That's number one. Number two is we have to address the pelvic floor. We cannot skip this. We cannot skip the pain that you're having down here. If it's hurting you, if it's burning, if it's stinging, we got to relax and release tight and tense pelvic floor muscles. There's a muscle that surrounds the opening that can make insertion either difficult or impossible. And we have to release that muscle. We use dilators. We teach you how to use those dilators. We teach you how to use your pelvic wand. We teach you how to use your own hand. These are the different tools that we're using specifically to address the tightness and the pelvic floor muscle dysfunction. Okay? So remember that vaginismus is a pelvic floor disorder. It's not a sex disorder. It's a pelvic floor disorder, which is why even if you're not trying to have sex, you can have a difficult time with vaginal insertion, right? Tampons, pelvic exams, just trying to like check your cervical mucus. It's not just about sex. It's about the state of your pelvis and your pelvic floor, which is important for your bladder control. Maybe you have incontinence or a strong desire to go pee all the time. These are signs that it's pelvic floor related, right? And then lastly, number 3, okay, we've gone through 2 things already. Number 3, this is so key. We have to start working on transitioning you for penetrative sex with confidence, okay? So a lot of the things that we will do to help you boost your confidence. Okay, let me rewind. If you struggle with vaginismus for several years, or maybe that's all you know is vaginismus, or maybe you've had it for a couple of months. Let's say you waited until marriage to try and have sex. You're religious, you're a devout woman, and you saved yourself for marriage. On your wedding night, to your surprise, nothing can get in your vagina. Before your wedding night, you never tried to put anything in, not even a finger, right? Maybe you didn't even try to insert a tampon, or maybe you did, but you just didn't know that it meant you had a real problem. So you, over the several attempts of trying to be intimate, a very natural part of being a woman, a very natural part of being a sexual being, a very natural part of relationships, even a natural part of just managing your health, right? It could just be that going to the doctor to get a pelvic exam is scary, anxiety provoking. So all of these experiences build up in your mind, and it gets stored to contribute to your insecurities. You may feel extremely insecure with sex now, right? Or you may just feel like you're not confident as a sexual being because of the different things that have happened over and over again. So with us at Vagina Rehab Doctor, what we do is, yes, we got to work on the nervous system to calm the anxiety and fear and all of that, get your muscles to be more calm with insertion. That's number 1. Number 2, we got to get past the pelvic floor muscle restrictions, or else nothing will be able to fit in there, right? Nothing will be able to go in and out without pain if we don't fix the pelvic floor. But then beyond that, we have to get you feeling confident on the verge of cocky, so that when it's time to go have sex, you don't just freeze. You freeze, you clench, and your body's ready, right? There's enough space, pelvic floor is better, right? You've worked on the fear and anxiety, but you haven't worked on doing things to increase your confidence. So an example of this is we'll have our clients dilate in different sex positions. We'll have our clients go do things with their partner that we prescribe, and we say, go try this with your partner. We'll have them to do things over and over again that are actually easy and very similar to what's required for sex. So once they're on their larger dilators or that dildo or whatever, we're having them do certain things that specifically work on boosting their confidence. We want you so confident that you're not constantly thinking about, what if this doesn't happen? What if it doesn't go in? No, we want you to the point where you're like, this is just a matter of time. I know that I'm ready. I've seen what my body can do, and I am going to do this when I want to have sex. We want you to feel very liberated and confident in your body and in your sexual capabilities. So that is number 3. If you do number 1 and you do number 2, but you don't work on restoring that belief in your body around sex, that you can do certain things. You can drop it like it's hot. You can dilate in this position over there. You can do this with your finger. You can do this with the wand. You can do this with the dildo, maybe, if you are comfortable with that. It may be difficult for you to transition into actual sex, actual intimacy that is spontaneous, if we don't work on your confidence. All right? So I want you to do this for me. I want you to comment what you thought about this video below, if this was helpful for you. Okay? Number 2, I want you to join me over on Instagram, because I post a lot on Instagram. That is my main platform, but I am trying to do better here on YouTube. Okay, so do that. And then number 3, if you're someone who actually wants to fix this problem and get the support that you need and the accountability week to week, right? You want the accountability in the structure, someone that can hold you accountable to dilation, your exercises, your mindset, all of that, then we can work with you one-on-one to help you overcome your vaginismus for good. We do programs that are 8 weeks. It includes 8 sessions working with a vagina rehab doctor, pelvic PT. We coach you week to week, completely remote. And so if you're interested in learning more about our program and getting our one-on-one help, then go ahead and just click the link in the show notes, and you can schedule a free call with me to talk to me about your goals, the problems that you've had, and I will try and figure out what's the blockage happening and how we can help you. And then if we're a fit, we'll get you signed up to work with us, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again. Bye.